Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for tuning in, and you're watching Buhle Khumalo. And today I have a very lovely guest. Like, she literally inspires me to do better. Like, I can't even fathom, like I can't even put the words in place, but because she's a teacher, she gonna teach me a few things. But anyway, all right, she is an entrepreneur, a writer. Like, she does the most, and literally, if she's not the president by the end of her lifetime, I don't know. But yeah, this is
Zanele. Hi guys, thank you so much for having me, Bush, on your channel. I'm so honored. So wow, where do I even start?
Yes.
I just want to summarize it, keep it nice and short. So I'm an entrepreneur and author and a speaker. So that's pretty much what I do.
her in a nutshell. All right, and this is like a new series that I'm starting where I have guests on the show and I interview them based on what they're doing, because my channel is to inspire people and make them better versions of themselves, as you can see in my description box of what is actually what I want to do as a person, because I believe in socially constructed, and with obviously, like, I've learned so many things from her. With each guest, we will definitely have a topic in mind. Obviously, you'll get to know them a bit more. And so at the end of the show, we will play a little game, just like they have to mention a few things based on what I've said. But yeah, so today, our topic is on emotional intelligence. And who better to explain emotional intelligence than Zanele Njapha? Yeah, but before we get into that, like, she has a book out. And it speaks about love, romance, you know. So the title is An Eye for Love. And like, this is why I wanted her to do this topic based on emotional intelligence. What is it? So yeah, before we get into that, what is your book about?
Alright, my book, An Eye for Love, is a romance novel. I don't usually like to say it's a romance novel because it puts a lot of people off.
Yeah.
So I'll just say it's a novel that speaks about love and a lot of other things. So the purpose of the novel is just to help people navigate their way around helping others to love them and then loving yourself, because sometimes we find that it's not easy for us to love ourselves until we realize that other people can love us. And that's usually key to getting to love yourself, learning why other people love you and seeing what they see in you, and then using that as an instrument to help you to love yourself. So that's what the book is about. It looks at the journey of a young lady who thinks that her whole life is figured out, and then she goes through things where, even with her family, her relationship with her family, finding someone to share her life with, and then eventually discovering why things like death happen, why things happen to us that we actually need to learn to live with and love, irregardless of whatever happens to us.
Because I feel like as humans, the main ingredients, besides that you're successful, and so the main ingredients that really makes us human is actually love. Like, that's what I'm a sucker at love, guys. Like, I'm a hopeless romantic. Like, it's bad. Alright, so now let's get into our topic. What is emotional intelligence?
Okay. Emotional intelligence has been defined by so many people in different ways. So I absolutely want to clear the air to say that everyone's definition is tainted with their own experiences and where they've researched and whatever it is that they've done. But my understanding of emotional intelligence is understanding your emotions at a particular time and place, and using that understanding of how you feel, how another person feels, in order to make better decisions.
Okay, so very first thing, so perspective, people, your emotions. Okay, so what emotions evoke? Okay, that's okay. My emotional intelligence, how can you rank it? Like, how do you know my emotional intelligence capacity is like higher or lower? Like, how do you know?
Okay, so one way that you can know is to look at the decisions you make.
Yes.
Let's say, for example, you're in a particular situation and your decision that you've made, you're able to look at it and say, why did I make that decision? Did I make that decision based on this emotion or that emotion? Was I angry? Was I upset? Did I use the particular emotion in order to fuel the decision I made, or did I acknowledge that I was angry and then decide with a clear mind what to do, irregardless of my anger, but also taking it into consideration? Because sometimes we make decisions purely based on our emotions, and emotional intelligence is about learning to make decisions considering your emotions, but not completely based on your emotions. Because if you're the kind of person who goes around making decisions based on your emotions purely, then things are usually going to clash somewhere.
Alright. Okay, with that being said, then what is the basis of emotional intelligence? Like, is it like self-awareness? What are the things that actually determine, okay, this is, okay, I can factor in emotional intelligence here. Am I making the right decisions? Like, what are the things? Like, for example, as you said, anger, self-awareness.
Okay, the things that we can base our emotional intelligence on, or the decision making when we are emotional intelligent, is, okay, how am I feeling? What is the logical perspective that is free of emotion? So you put the decision that would be emotionally based and the decision that is logical, that is without emotion, without feelings, and unattached. And you look at the two together. Because one thing with emotional intelligence that's so important is we need to consider that we are dealing with people. And sometimes when we completely take the emotion out of the situation, people's feelings get hurt, etc., etc. But you also don't want to treat people like babies, where you're all emotional. So you want to look at the two and then say, okay, how do the two then meet? How do I still consider their emotions and my emotions, but then also how do I keep it completely logical and professional?
Okay, so now I have this question. You said logic and emotions. Okay, so then we have our brain and then we have our heart. How does it link?
Our brains and our hearts.
Yes, like, because it says emotional. I think that the emotional part is obviously our heart, and then the intelligent part is our brain. So.
Strangely enough, actually, scientists have proven that. Well, I think most people know, unless you're a child, you think that all your feelings are in your heart. But actually our emotions are mentally based, and they start in our mind, which is why even our thoughts most of the time are fueled by our emotions, because they're both actually one. And what you think is usually based on how you feel. How you feel, if you're feeling angry, then you start to think, oh my goodness, this is what I'm going to do to that person, that's what I'm going to do, because of the emotion. So understanding that the two of them actually can influence each other so strongly is usually a really great starting point to then say, okay, I understand that the two are actually linked. How do I then make sure that the emotions I feel trigger the right kind of thoughts, which would then obviously trigger different kinds of actions.
Alright, so then that will bring in being rational and being irrational. Alright, okay. So then how does it factor in our everyday lives? For example, politics, war, like everything that we go through as humans.
Like that you mentioned war, because all of those occurrences stem from a high amount of emotion. Whether it's you're so passionate about something or passionate in a negative way about something. And I really like a quote that Mother Teresa once said of, if everyone sweeps their own doorstep, then the whole world is going to be clean. So we need to firstly understand that emotional intelligence is a you job. It's not someone else's job. Someone else needs to control the way that they act so I can be more emotionally intelligent. No, it's actually completely up to you. And so you need to firstly understand where you are coming from, what decision you are going to make based on however it is that you are feeling, and then whatever it is the other person does then as a result, you need to be completely confident in the decision you've made that is emotionally intelligent. And if each and every person can learn to be more emotionally intelligent, then everyone else, whether it's in the scenery of wars or anything of the such, we're able to then approach each other in a more humanitarian kind of way.
All right, okay. I would like you to kind of think of our politicians and how would you rank their emotional intelligence? Or I can give you an example of probably like the US president. Okay, so Donald Trump. How do you react to his emotional intelligence?
Okay, so I don't want to bash anyone. So I'm just going to. So I'm just going to. A lot of the time, and this is on a general perspective with not just politicians but people in general. Anger. In the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, he says that greed is one of the most powerful emotions. And I feel that anger is just the same, because it it almost creates an impulsive manner of acting, that whatever you say, whatever you think, whatever you feel, if it's based off of anger, you will react to it quickly. And so a person who is not necessarily well trained in emotional intelligence will react so much quicker when they are fueled by an emotion, rather than taking a bit of time. There's a speaker who speaks about a 5-second window period when you feel an emotion, when you have to make a decision. And so emotional intelligence is about stopping yourself within that 5-second window of making a decision. When you can feel that I'm angry, I want to say this, and then just say, okay, this is the moment where I'm able to make a decision and take control. And politicians a lot of the time are either trying to please people, or they're just reacting out of their own personal emotions that are not based off of, you know, whatever it is that everyone that they're serving is feeling at the time. And so it's just, they just need to learn to take the focus off of themselves, because I think that's usually where most of them, you know, lose the plot. Some of them do well, but others maybe need to just...
And being a politician, like, it's a hard job. Like studying politics, it's really hard. It's not as easy. It's not easy to please everybody. At the end of the day, you will hurt somebody. It's not intentional. I completely understand where they are coming from, as well as sometimes their decisions are irrational, but sometimes they're also thinking of the other person. So it's a tough situation to actually
add something. I love what you said just now about considering the other person. I think that's where the catch-22 with the politicians comes in, is that I'm also an emotional, feeling human being, but then the people that I'm trying to serve are also coming to me with their anger and their passion and whatever it is that they are feeling as well. And I sort of have to find middle ground to both of those.
All right, which goes then to, do we have to teach emotional intelligence? Like, is it something that we have to, because as you grow, we have different experiences, and obviously those experiences make us make a certain decision. So do you feel like we need to teach emotional intelligence, like from kids, like to make, I don't know, do you feel like we need to teach it?
I think it's something we can consider. I wouldn't recommend as a curricula within school, but maybe more of a home thing or a daycare kind of thing, where even in the way that we can implement maybe in schools or at home is in behavior, in everyday behavior. When a child does something specific, then you stop the child. What led you to making this particular decision? How were you feeling emotionally? Did you consider how the other person is feeling? How did that lead to your decision? With each and every single thing. And I think we do actually try to do it from here on out. I know a lot of the African cultures will have a very...
That was my next question.
Collaborative culture that says, okay, so this is the decision you've made. What about so and so? You know, you're not sharing, or whatever the case may be. Did you consider how you're making the other person feel? How do you feel about not sharing, etc., etc.? Where the child starts to internalize all of those things, not knowing that they're being taught emotional intelligence, but sort of having it learned over time.
Process. So then, do you feel with cultures now? Do you feel like certain cultures are more emotionally intelligent than others?
This is a tricky one. I would say possibly. Because I know some cultures, both in Asia and in Africa, our cultures are more collaborative compared to Western nations that are more individualistic. And in certain cultures, emotional intelligence is easier to teach and to learn, because we're already taught to understand other people's emotions and our own. But in more individualistic cultures, what you find is that they've got more of a me ideal that they're taught. It's more about my emotions. How am I feeling? How am I feeling at the moment? Why am I making this decision? But the important thing about emotional intelligence is that it needs to be looked at on a more collaborative basis, where it's not just me and my emotions, but everyone else. How does this affect not just me and you, but the greater whole? How does this affect our tomorrow if I make this decision based on whatever it is that I'm feeling, or not consider what you are feeling?
Okay, just based on that alone, this is just a trick question, So if you say me, wouldn't you say like, when you yourself are emotionally intelligent and you're able to help everybody else easier, so would you say that it's easier for them to actually, because most of them as individuals are emotional intelligence, which makes them of a higher ranking than let's say, obviously say like African cultures, it's more collaborative. Like, wouldn't you say that it's harder because now these people, since they're all like a collaborative type of group and looking at different cultures and all of that jazz, isn't it harder to find yourself as an individual when you're in a bigger setting?
Absolutely understand what you mean, and that's been a really huge debate because my master's is in political policy science rather than political science, and that debate has come up so often. And most people that grow up in collaborative cultures have complained that they seem to sort of lose themselves in the group. But the identity then comes in. Your identity is based off of the group identity. So whatever we feel about ourselves as a culture, I'll use the example of my own tribe, the Zulu people. Zulu people are known as people of respect. And so that's a culture that's not a me, it's an us. It's okay. It's more of an us culture. And so as a person who grows up in that kind of culture, your identity or even your emotional intelligence comes from how do we define ourselves as a group. It's like if you're a part of a company, what are our company values? That's where I get my identity from. And so then that makes it difficult when you then leave a company. Who are you then? Because when you are a part of something, your identity is based on what the group is.
Okay, all right. So that is, I think we have to have a part 2 of this on emotional intelligence. It's very deep. Okay, so now females, males, we like it's a very, there's a lot of stereotypes around it. Like how, like who's more emotionally intelligent? Females, males?
Wow. I think I just want to completely slash the stereotype that females are emotional. I think where most people get that from is that females are known to be more expressive or basing decisions on emotions purely. Usually this is just the general scenario where people would think that women just base everything that they decide just on how they feel, and which may or may not necessarily be true. And men on the other hand are known for making decisions irregardless of their emotions. So apparently they're able to take their emotions out of everything and then decide. So I would say that it's individually based and not necessarily a man or woman. Women are definitely more aware of their emotions, usually most of the time. But men maybe seem to hide their emotions or think that emotions imply less power in some sense, or expressing your emotions or being aware of your emotions shows that you're very powerless. Don't be, especially emotions that are associated with women sometimes. Emotions like sadness, emotions like fear, emotions like, all sorts of things that are usually associated with women for some reason. So with them, they may be some of the time afraid to then embody those emotions, but without the understanding that understanding your emotions and their presence in a particular moment actually makes you more powerful. If you are able to detect that, oh my goodness, this is happening and I'm actually feeling scared. Why am I feeling scared in this particular moment? Could it be because of my past experience? Could it be because if this turns out a certain way, I'm going to lose my job? And understanding why you feel that way will then help you to make a better decision. But if you suppress that emotion, say, no, I'm not scared, please, and then you decide, then you'll find yourself.
Then, because in a group setting, what we've noticed as females is that, and this is not only just me, like it's a general thing, that guys are more confident when they're amongst other guys. So they have a stronger emotional intelligence in the sense of confidence. That's why for them it's easier to approach girls, or it's even in a sport when they have that, they ooze confidence. So I'd say like probably they dominate there, which means like we probably share different characteristics based on emotional intelligence. But like what makes them so boastful when they
Oh my goodness. Well, I think this goes back to primitive times. And we see it a lot of the time in the animal kingdom, where the male is always looking to be the alpha male, and the only way in the animal kingdom to get the girl is if you're actually the strongest, more dominant male. And that's why they usually tackle each other, do whatever they have to do in order to prove to the female that I'm actually the best.
Yes.
But they hang around in the groups usually for protection, animals like bugs, etc. Will hang around in groups for protection. I once heard of this research about females and males in professional fields and in the corporate world. The results were that women, usually when they are successful, will attribute their success to someone else who has influence. Oh, you did so well. Oh, it's my mom. She helped me so much. Oh, I've got great colleagues. Oh my goodness, I had so much support from my team. But with men, when they were asked, they'll, yeah, of course. I worked hard. I put in the time. I did this. I did that. Yeah, I didn't sleep. I drove this far. Whatever the case may be, where they take that credit onto themselves directly. But women who somehow see it as selfish in a way, to actually own their success, will then say, no, so and so helped me, so and so, and we all did it together. Which also shows just how women sometimes can also be a little off when it comes to their emotions, and sometimes will succumb and give in to their emotions rather than take a position of power over what they are feeling.
All right, that was a very intense last question. But to sum everything up, what can you say is the key thing to make sure that your emotional intelligence is balanced?
I think be aware of your emotions, know what you are feeling all the time, and then face it.
Yes.
I think those are the two important things. Know what you are feeling all the time, because our emotions change the moment we walk out of a door, the moment we see a new person, the moment we have to start a new task, because we don't feel the same way about everything. As soon as I step into an exam room and I'm writing maths, my emotions change all of a sudden. As soon as I see my husband or whoever it is, my emotions change. So be aware of what you're feeling in every single moment that you're interacting with other people, and then face it. Make an emotionally intelligent decision based off of not just your emotions, but of your clear, thinking, logical mind.
Oh, thank you very much, Zane. Thank you. All right, and then the little game. I'm just going to mention a word and then just say the very first thing that pops into mind. I have a few words, okay? So, people.
Place.
Okay. Woman.
Men.
It's funny because the next one is men.
Women. Ego.
Very interesting. And the last word is love.
Faith.
That is deep on so many levels. All right, okay. Would you like to tell us of any projects that you're working on, things that we need to look out for?
One program, Acadate, my non-profit organization that works with maths, science, and accounting advancement, is hosting a coding program. So we're going into digital programming and coding to equip all of our young children to innovate and be creative for the digital future that's now upon us. So we're starting that off in various communities. If anyone has any desire to have it done in their communities, we're looking to pilot and spread the academic love. And my YouTube channel as well.
Yes. You have to check it out. It's amazing. This is the person.
Thank you. So that's one thing, and then just my website for anything at all. I'm so open to chatting with people about any other projects that I can get involved in, or anything that you'd like my help with. That would be absolutely awesome. It's zanelenjapha.com.
All right. And on Instagram, social media, where can they find you?
At Zanele Njapha that's on Facebook, I think, and Instagram, and Twitter as well. And LinkedIn as well, Zanele Njapha.
Yeah, I'll put all of her details in the description box down below, so make sure you check it out, and definitely check her YouTube page, her YouTube channel. Oh my goodness. This girl, she's got so many things, she's got files. Alright, thank you very much for tuning in. She's my very first interview guest, and we'll definitely have more guests in the future. I'm really excited, and bye bye, see you later.